All right, fam. Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Man Coverage. I am Caitlin White, one of our two illustrious hosts on this program. And if you're listening to this right now in the year of our Lord 2024, I can only imagine it's because you are one of my dear patient friends who I asked to listen to all of my audio content, or maybe you saw me post something on Instagram. Or you're my mom. Hi, Mom. And if you're not connected to me or my co-host, Brendan Flake, in any way, then shout out to your incredibly specific algorithm or whatever you use that brought you to this place. Welcome. Last week, we decided to hit record on the podcast, so it became less of an idea and more of a product. You'll hear us shoot the shit, draw up an outline in real time, and get some thoughts to tape. So listen if you want, tell us if you liked it, and let us know if there's really anything here. Okay, love you, bye. First things first, it's Tuesday, October 8th. It's the evening. You just found out somehow at 8 p.m. that this morning Robert Salah was fired.
Yeah.
How do you feel in real time?
Elated. Overjoyed.
You said it was the first time you opened your laptop and Twitter today.
I didn't even do anything on my phone. So really, it's actually
also incredible.
The only thing I've seen today besides the new Zelda game is the news that Robert Salah was fired as head coach of the New York Jets.
That found its news to you, or found its way to you before.
The universe was like, Brendan needs this today.
All right, so how are we feeling? New York Jets head coach fired. When did they play Sunday this week?
Yeah, they played in London.
They were in London. Okay, they were sleepy. They were sleepy boys.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers had to use his old-ass arm to throw the ball 54 times just to lose to the Vikings. And 3 of those balls were picks. They go into the office, I guess, this morning, and then 5 minutes later, Robert Salah is being walked out by the head of security. They didn't even do that to Adam Gase, a football terrorist. He was such a bad head coach.
The thing is that we were talking about how, like, savage it was, and that's maybe even too serious of a word, but, like, they don't let you say bye to your friends. You just come in, you put your bag down, you say, I'm so excited for next week with the Bills, and then they say, you have to go home, actually. Yeah. And you don't get to give anyone a letter or pack a bag, or you just get turned around. And that's what cracks me up sometimes when I think about football, and especially for someone like me who's very, like, newish to the sport in the last couple of years. It takes a whole year to remember names, and it takes a whole year to fall in love with these guys. And then I'm like, oh, that guy's just leaving, and now I have to forget like Gabe Davis doesn't exist, and then he just had to leave all his friends.
Yeah, right. And then when you watch the Bills play the Jags, and you see him crying like on the sideline on the bench, I'm like, wait, I hurt my chest. I was just supposed to play against my old team.
Those were best buds, and maybe it's just like way too emotional on my end, but.
I think that I would agree with you if it wasn't the New York Jets. But, like, it is... What's sad in New Jersey is good everywhere else, I guess. It's just like, yeah, like, oh, I think we have a good shot against the Bills. Oh, actually, Bob, why don't you get all this shit out of here?
That is... Them's fighting words in New Jersey.
I like that Aaron Rodgers had no idea. It is, I guess.
They didn't even tell him.
No, total surprise. And
well,
then
he was probably busy meditating or
another
drinking
retreat.
Goofing a green juice. Like,
I didn't sign up for this, Woody.
All right, the Jets. What else did we get this weekend? We had the Bills on Sunday, of course.
And they won, and it was great.
Yep, next bullet. Oh, coming in hot off the press. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Breaking news.
Is that true?
If you haven't heard, you heard it here first. Taylor Swift, singer, songwriter extraordinaire, may or may not be dating Travis Kelce. Well, okay.
Oh, we're breaking that story.
Here's what I think. No, the drama is that she didn't go to his birthday party this weekend, which is also the same day as her grandmother, Marjorie, who has a song on Evermore. She didn't go to his birthday, but then she was at the game, and she was dressed in all plaid, and she had little freckles on. Legally, we have to talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce at some point every episode. So.
What color was the plaid?
It was like yellowish, brownish. It wasn't like Chiefs colors. No. It was like an outfit you could have worn out, thigh-high boots, girly stuff, you know.
Were they seen together after the game? I don't know why I'm asking that question.
I don't think so, but apparently he knew ahead of time that she wasn't coming to the birthday party. And so he was like, it's okay. I'm a grown man.
I can handle things like that.
And she's coming to my football game
Do I look
anyway,
like fucking
so.
Tom Hiddleston to you, Taylor? Yeah, it's okay. Play some Grand Theft Auto, thanks.
Did you see the thing I sent you? Where was that guy doing this is a great segment. Did you see the thing I sent you? It was a comedian whose name I don't know. Insert here. And he was doing like point of view. I'm Travis Kelce. And we just went on a first date. And he was just like doing all this stuff with his glasses, being like, "Yo, shorty." Like, thanks for rocking with me tonight. And then someone commented under that, if Kelce wasn't in the NFL, he would be the hometown plug.
Yes.
That shit rocked me for a whole day. It's so funny because it's so true.
Start driving around in a dirty Honda Civic.
No curtains.
No curtains at all.
Definitely just like never opens a window. It's very smoky inside because he's always like baking out the house.
He has a gun that is loaded but hasn't been fired in like 40 years because it came from like some uncle.
Like a very old dog. He's like healthy but just like very old. And
But
like,
weirdly a pile of cat vomit on the back of one of the couches.
and like a lizard.
There's just like a hockey jersey tacked to the wall. She's just like
Off center.
Yeah. Did you use a screw to put that out?
Just little bits of plaster falling off as well.
I don't know if I'm off of the Jets yet. And
Is there more to report, or are we just looking? You
I
have an
just
interesting
think-
photo up on your computer, just that.
Oh, well, that was...
That may or may not have been.
So I used to read this sports website called Deadspin a million years ago before like private equity fucked it all up and all those writers had to start their own outlet. But then in the background of all that, there's been zombie Deadspin. Like essentially after all of those writers left, the people who own the company were like, we're just going to like get a bunch of scabs in here and keep the outlet going. And I haven't, for years, I haven't read anything that they've reported, but I just saw Deadspin loses bid to toss defamation suit over article accusing young Chiefs fan of racism. And it's just...
The picture is crazy.
Literally a child wearing a full Native American headdress with half of his face painted red and half of his face painted black. And it's just Travis Kelce. It's not a child. It's not. No. But it's pretty horrible. Like, I guess they had like a bunch of opportunities to take it down. I guess the kid is himself part Native. And they tried to basically make the argument. The court concludes that Deadspin's statements accusing the child of wearing blackface and Native headdress to hate black people and the Native American at the same time, and that he was taught this hatred by his parents, are provable false assertions of fact and are therefore actionable. So I guess they're getting in a little bit of trouble for that.
Is the kid older and like trying to get this scrubbed, or is the kid trying to get it scrubbed?
I think it's probably his parents who are just yo, what the fuck? What the fuck are you talking about? It's not my child in blackface at a fucking Chiefs game.
Only
He's
half.
11.
Only half.
Yeah, he's only half racist. I mean, it's actually pretty pointed social commentary.
It's also like a very high quality photo.
Yeah, I'm gonna
just front and center.
just
He had
keep
good
looking
seats,
at it.
which-
Yeah, he's obviously a child of privilege. I don't like the kid. You just probably shouldn't be able to write those things about him.
He's going to be a senator one day. We know that
Yeah.
for sure. We know that for sure. Segment alert.
Segment alert.
Segment alert.
Pride flag is a segment.
Valid or not valid?
Valid or not? Literally, I was gonna say in a league.
Hot or not, pride flag.
Pretty much, this is the subsect for the section that I said. And honestly, I'm like, I don't care if I'm. You know what I mean? We'll cut anything that I'm talking about.
Fuck, marry, kill these pride flags.
Fuck, marry, kill any 3 players from the NFL. Cardi B, Offset.
Taylor Swift.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah, we should. FMK, Haley, Taylor.
Oh.
Pride flag. In a league absolutely overrun with bad calls, what were 2 good flags thrown this week? Not into something.
I'm not carrying water for these fucking zebras.
Well.
It's not gonna happen.
Alright.
You know what I think a good flag was? Every single one that was thrown for a player pretending to brandish a weapon. No. I think we do have to get that out of the game.
You guys should.
Yeah. What kind of weapons do you think you should be? Like, if I like pretend to unsheath a sword, like after getting a sack, do you think they would throw the flag on that?
Or it doesn't. Okay, literally, not to bring it back to Travis Kelce, but he does the archer,
The bow and arrow thing, yeah.
which is famously used.
Like if he did that, and then I was playing for the opposite team, and then I pretended, like I ran down in the arrow's imaginary path and pretended to be struck by it, and like really dramatic, like like pretended to be killed by it. And do you think they would throw a flag? Probably on me for unsportsmanlike conduct for wasting everybody's fucking time. But I don't think that you should be able to do that. It's violent imagery.
Just a full Bambi.
So, do you think it's only guns though? Like if I pretended to do like a bunch of cool shit with a butterfly knife or a pair of
or like
nunchucks?
you lift up your little capri pant and you're like, there's a switchblade.
What if it was like I pretended to be like a Dolly Parton, like with a little revolver and like a cigarette or something? Like if I made it like, or like I pretended to put on like a feather boa and then like I kicked open like a screen door and I was like waited for the ref to start throwing the flag, used his mic to say, "Get on out of here."
Delay of game.
This is how we're helping people to understand the sport, though. It's like knowing now that you can't do shit like that.
And it was also that idea we had of just like those deep dives where it's like, what's the deal with Matt Collins?
Yeah. I got to know about the man who eats with his feet. That's not it. He walks.
He's not a monkey.
No, that's he's always barefoot. And what is he? He eats with his hands, just like a regular person does. What the fuck? That's not even that interesting. That sucks. Actually, I don't fucking care about Mac Hollins. That's ruined my entire night. I remember the Robert Salah stuff.
He eats with his feet.
What have I been reading?
Eats with his hands like a regular person. Oh my God.
What does he catch with then? Like, what have I been reading?
Well, honey, nothing this week. He contractually is obligated to wear shoes. They had to put it in writing
Really?
and have him sign it because it's the only time he wears shoes. He says he only wears shoes at... Excuse you. No, I was kidding. He says he only wears shoes. Oh, I listened to some other podcasts he was on. And the guy was like, okay, I'm going to name a bunch of places. And you're going to say if you wear shoes there. And he was like, easy. I never wear shoes. And he was like, I would wear them. I don't wear shoes on the New York City subway.
He did not say that.
He said that. Like, that was the first one.
Has he ever been to New York City? Like, maybe
that
he was just
actually
saying
wasn't clarified.
Okay.
Because...
Never worn shoes.
But it was also the first question, so I feel like he had to come out hot, either way.
Yeah.
But then it was like... I think that he says Trader Joe's yells at him to put shoes on, which, sure, it's food. And then he says he doesn't wear shoes at the airport, but will wear them into the bathroom at the airport.
Okay, well...
But it's weird because you do take your shoes off, but then I guess you're supposed to put them back on.
Yeah, not even a flip-flop.
He doesn't do socks, though. He's like fully grounded or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, now that's why we're going to be doing a deep dive into Mac Hollins.
Well, I don't think...
That dude is probably cruising on the colloidal silver.
Oh,
Like,
my God, absolutely.
Fucking guaranteed.
He's going to turn into... You ever watch that doc with the woman?
Mother
Earth?
Mother God.
Mother God.
Yeah.
Mother God. Yeah, she turned
That
like
was
purple.
the bluest person
Yeah.
I've seen outside of the fucking Willy Wonka chocolate
It
factory.
was like teal. Like it was a bright blue.
Yeah, she looked great. Like, honestly.
Glowing.
Radiant.
Not a blemish in sight, but unfortunately.
Did they ever bury her? I hope she's still just in that
still
trailer.
in that house.
What if Stefan Diggs hooked up with Mother God like in the off season to get back at Offset?
He's in that trailer and he's got like a full beard, topless, but with like tons of beads, not chains, just like chunky beads, like
just incense and shit, just burning fragrant oils.
Remember that rumor that he was like dating two girls at once and they were like in the same
That
hotel
was actually
or
the
something?
first thought that I had with like the Cardi B thing, and I had to work through this. It's like, I don't think that I would like if Stefan Diggs was sleeping with Cardi B, because then he's not sleeping with us. And I was like, well, that's weird. I don't really want to sleep with Stefan Diggs. And I was like, but what if it was me and Caitlin in separate hotel rooms on Valentine's Day? That sounds way more fun. And if he's with Cardi B, he's obviously not doing that.
I was listening to Las Culturistas today, and they were describing Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers if they were with Pedro Pascal. and he could just have his way with them, what would the situation be? And I think Matt said it would be you and me, same room, but opposite sides of the room, blindfolded. So we're together, but farther apart. Kind of like that.
Yeah. I just want to know that he was in the room with you at some point. You know?
And if I'm in that same room, I'm in that same room.
But also, we can't know, right? Because to keep the illusion alive that it's exactly like the story we read. So he has to...
The Cardi B?
No, the from Valentine's Day when he was...
Oh, yeah. And they didn't know each other.
Right. He's just going from door to door.
He's
like
just
the
like,
fucking...
I need ice.
What happened in the Bible where they took all those firstborns or something if you didn't put an X on the door? That was Stefan Diggs just tearing pussy up in the fucking Marriott.
Marriott East Aurora.
On Valentine's Day 2022.
He's at the Hotel Henry just sprinting down the halls.
What's the ennui you must experience, like whipping a McLaren through the Tim Hortons fucking drive-through in a blizzard in the middle of November? Like, I wouldn't want to fucking be here either. Like,
you're not on Instagram currently, but my dentist had some fighting words the other day when I went to my dentist.
that's wild. Are they like a fucking Jets fan or
No,
something?
they're off Sheridan Boulevard. But they have a cardboard cutout of Josh Allen. And then this is the first thing you see in the door.
What? For what?
They put a little hat on him and it says Duns.
Yeah, what an asshole for scoring 20 unanswered points against the Texans and losing to a last-second 59-yard field goal.
I walked in and I was like jaw dropped. I was like, wait, did something bad? I guess something in general bad, yes, but not fully his.
Maybe he hasn't been in for a cleaning lately.
Yeah.
They're just shaming him for, like, he eats too much candy.
I mean, it was a good game to watch, but it was until the end. But
I wanted overtime so bad. I was like, I would much rather
necessarily
lose
do
in
anything dunce cap worthy.
Not to
I would
my
say like
mind.
Coleman did.
I felt like he was trying to do a little too much, but that's just Josh Allen football. Like, he's trying to make shit happen because his wide receivers are like,
no
we're not
one's
showing
looking.
up today.
But balls are bouncing off their heads backwards.
Yeah.
That's Three Stooges shit.
Yeah, there was like a slide whistle. Like, that's actually what the ref started blowing.
All
at a
three
certain
of them
point.
ran into each other, like
Benny Hill music instead of the train whistle. It's third down.
It was like, my guy's not even turning around.
No. They'll clean that shit up, though. Like, Keon Coleman's not a moron. He's good enough wide receiver to get drafted in the first round, right?
It just looks so goofy.
It did look really fucking dumb. So he's like, whatever, I'll just roll out to my right and try and throw it to anybody within 0.3 seconds as I'm getting fucking absolutely decimated into a fucking table full of Gatorade, like every snap. And then what was the result of that? Another 3 and out. Like, I don't think that's Josh Allen's fault.
It's definitely not a dunce cap at the Sheridan Family
It's like
Dentistry.
we're 3-2 in a year when we weren't supposed to do anything at all. Like, that's the thing about, like, the fickle fan of it. It's just like, you're acting like we were trying to go to the championship game again. Like,
can you tell me about this theory then? Because I've heard Bill mention it.
Punts too.
Okay, well, no. First is this theory of like this gap year, or like this is a year where nothing's going to happen, a transitional year.
Transition year, yeah.
So like, I understand that in theory, but like, everyone just agrees like we're not going to go for it allegedly, or like what is the point?
Well, I mean, that's one of the things that I think gets lost, like when everybody like making their prognostications and talking about like windows being opened or closed or whatever. It's just like nobody, like, you can say it's a rebuild year, but like if I'm on the team or any of these people on the team, they're not like coming to work just like, man, too bad it's a rebuild year.
Yeah.
You know, fuck that. Like, they're trying to win all of these goddamn games. That's just like, you know, people who have a narrative and like have to sell their shitty fucking takes, like, to make it compelling. Like, oh yeah, who knows about the Bills? But then we're 3-0 to start, and it's just like, Bills might be the best team in the league. But I guess I don't want to jump off of this. I was looking at the standings earlier because talking about how it is like a rebuild year. I'm like, we're still at the top of the AFC East. We can be like somewhat of a dumpster fire, probably still be expected to win our division. And then I saw that the Chiefs are fucking 5-0. How does this keep happening? The Bengals are 1-4 and the Chiefs are fucking 5-0. That's crazy.
It's that Taylor Swift energy, baby.
They're just having a totally different experience over there. They're the only undefeated team in the league.
They always have their own experience because they do experience the world differently than the rest of the league, and especially us. And it's hard to watch sometimes. We turned off the game the other night.
I think the Bears have a reason to be excited. Like they have a young quarterback, but no, I don't think that they're a good team, and they probably won't ever be again.
Is Joe Flacco still around?
Joe Flacco's
Is he back out again?
yeah, Joe Flacco is back out.
He's been back out.
He's playing for the Colts now. I don't know if they won that game. They're 2-3, so probably not. But they were just in a shootout with I think the Jags, who are 1-4. So maybe that was their one win this year.
That's it, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not even sure what the meta is in the NFL currently. Usually I'm up on all of this stuff, but it's just been so.
It's been something.
And that's why my fantasy league is doing well, because I picked with nothing in mind.
Yeah.
And somehow.
You want to explain how you pick your fantasy players? What's your thought process?
Well, first couple years it was just Bills players and anyone else I've ever heard of. And it was also just who is not an abuser or someone who said something vile.
That explains the middle of the pack standing. You're 6 out of 12.
And then this year I had some kind of plan now that I understood players more and the differences. Mm-hmm. And I also was Googling there's a certain order you should pick people in. You shouldn't pick your quarterback first because it's not you're supposed to pick your running backs or your wide receivers and stuff. From what I remember Googling 3 months ago, but I didn't understand. I was just always going for names, and then I was oh no, there's a tactic, you save your tight ends for the end or whatever, kickers. So then I was I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put some stuff together. I'm gonna start with this. Get Yahoo.com says wide receivers first or whatever, and pick some names there. But then everyone I was sixth pick or something. I had just a flop spot, and then I just started kind of picking out of panic for numbers at the end because I didn't know what else to do. And that's how I ended up with the Browns as my defense, which is kind of a bummer.
Who's your kicker?
C. Dicker. And I rhymed. So I figured just as much. He would be incredible.
I think we could get him for the pod.
C. Dicker. He might be on the Niners. I don't know. The complete guess. Something from Culture. Love is Blind started last week.
Okay.
Culture.
Are you aware of the program? The general premise?
I could guess at it.
Okay, go.
I think a lot of attractive people, I'm going to say 20 to 30, are put on an island and they have to... Why is it blind, though?
Yeah.
What's the blind part?
It is actually key to the program.
Yeah. They're not allowed to... It's like Bird Box.
They have to stare at the sun. The first day they're there.
They have to make themselves blind to participate. I do. So that's not an element that I would have considered right off the bat, is that they blind themselves. They put their eyes out.
They have to go under with salt water until it hurts a lot. So Love is Blind is... The pods. Have you ever heard of the pods?
For people, there's a sleeping
just
chamber.
The phrase, we're in the pods. Okay.
Fuck.
You're not watching. Our Twitter feeds must be so different.
I don't even have one anymore.
But I mean, the Twitter feed of life. It's just in our brains,
yes.
The things that come up. Because, my Twitter feed is all Salt Lake City housewives and shit. But Love is Blind, it's the season 7 now. There's a point to this that relates to football. And... they go to a different city each season so that everyone is dating and they're already from the same place, right? So you don't have to worry about oh no, you live somewhere else. So they're in DC right now. And 10 to 20 of men and women,
so not
the
30,
only two genders,
40,
yeah.
50, yeah.
Not the, well, maybe 10, 20.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is the
they,
guy...
them off to the ultimatum. But only if you have a vagina.
Off to the gallows. but guys live together, all the women live together.
Nice.
And then, so you have like that little tea of like all the girls know each other, all the guys know each other. And then the whole thing is they go on dates in the pods, which are like rooms, and you talk to the other sex with a wall in between. So you only get their voice and you're blind.
Yeah.
And so you go on these dates, I think, for like a
really
week.
Hard to get water. This show, I should just say, is riddled with labor rights abuses.
Yeah.
They haven't been outside in a long time. Yeah.
Sorry, keep going. Sorry, just the producers know.
But then so they're like dating. They're dating in the pods, and it feels like it goes on for months, but it's actually like 6 days that they have to like date.
Oh, wow.
And then they don't have they just have notebooks to be like, Brad seems nice, you know.
Voice seemed a little dry.
Yeah. Xavier seems weird. But then the only way you can meet each other is if you get engaged. And
Well, that is awful.
so then let's say like Steven gets engaged to Monica, who I think is actually a couple. And then so now they are engaged technically. And then they get to meet each other in like a long hallway and like kiss and whatever, even though they've only like known each other for like 4 days. Which sure, whatever.
How many dates do you get to go on with like...
I think it's about like a week or two that you're in the experiment that they call it. And people are always like, I'm so grateful to be doing this experiment, like as if they're doing science. But the point was there was this girl who is just like very insecure. Her name is Hannah. And she was dating the same guy as like a couple other girls. And so there was like, you know, fighting in that side. And that guy's name was Nick S. And he kept telling them all that he's like a real estate agent now. They all work in like marketing, right? I'm getting off the point.
I love
talking
this.
about Love is Blind. No, there is a
we
point.
can pivot this podcast. Absolutely.
So the point is Nick S. or whatever his name is was telling all these girls that he is a real estate agent now, but he also used to play like semi-professional football in college. And then he did like XFL, whatever. And he was like, I was a punter and a kicker. I was a punter and a kicker. And so all the girls were thinking he was like this massive Josh Allen. And he said they play like the producers edited it to make sure he was always like, I'm a punter and a kicker. And then he met like the women he proposed to, who was like, she's like 5'9" or something. She's very tall. I think she's like a little taller than him. And then like the confessional, she's like, he kept saying he was a football player, so I thought he'd be bigger than me. And I was like, he's a punter and a kicker, baby. Of course he's going to be 5'6". Like,
Not everyone's Pat McAfee out here.
but I was like, damn, now she's engaged to him because she thought he was a football player.
Yeah.
She thought he was going to be like 500 pounds and just like sweep her off her feet. And now she's slightly taller than him. Yeah. But that's also something I would not have understood 2 to 3 years ago. I also would have been like, he's a football player. He must be
he's gonna
7
be
feet
fucking
tall.
huge.
He's not going to be like 135 pounds and 5'7".
So how many
Culture.
of these people get married?
Judging on, I've seen every season. The first season was the best. There's a couple couples who have like still married.
How many seasons have there been?
This is 7.
Holy
It
shit.
Started during COVID or like
Oh,
after COVID.
okay. All right. That makes sense. Yeah,
But that's
that's...
only like 4 years and there's already 7 seasons. Like,
we got a hit.
and they drop them like 12 episodes at a time. But
It's
anyway,
just nice to see so many people getting invested in the sciences.
yeah, women in STEM and also men in STEM. It cracks me up so much because at this point, love is definitely not blind. Like, love has never really been blind. Since season 1, people were like, oh. And a lot of it has to do with like height and things. I don't think it's ever been like pure racism. Has it, Bill?
Hey. Hey, Ironsides. Can you tell me if anybody's
Guys, you
been
ever been
racist
any racism
on Love is Blind?
Love is Blind?
Jamie, can you do a fact check on it?
No, not any racism. I said pure racist.
Do you think anybody...
Yeah, different than the other, not the chill kinds. I
Not
mean,
like the John Gruden email
Not like
racism.
that.
Like, I don't want to love you because of the color of your skin racism.
No, I don't see racism.
You know what we should wait. I have another segment idea.
Okay.
Okay.
We should watch
We have a couple good ones.
the Travis Kelce dating show and do reviews of it. I have no idea if you can stream it anywhere, but I know it exists.
I can find it. I'll
Sure.
definitely find that.
It was probably on like what, Fox back in the day. Like
It was on OAN?
Yeah.
On American News?
he was on Oprah's channel. It's so weird. Well, because Aaron Rodgers' brother was the Bachelor, Jordan Rodgers, and then
Yeah, what's he doing?
Travis Kelce had his own.
Does Aaron
game
even
show.
talk to that one, or is that another one of
I
the
have no
family
idea.
members that he has no contact with whatsoever?
Well, this was like years ago before, when that was like the only thing I knew about football.
Catching.
Was that like
Aaron
catching-
Rodgers' family can't stand him at all.
well, that he somehow a football player was on The Bachelor, and I was like, oh, he's kind of cute. Come to find out, his brother is his brother.
You're talking about. We're talking about the show Catching Kelce
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
in
that
2016.
that's very more recent than I thought.
It was on E.
That makes sense.
It's on Peacock, baby.
Oh, God bless.
She has, the frog squats, the froggy leap squats. I always respect someone that's willing to get a workout and feeling like I need one myself.
That man's gonna marry Taylor Swift.
Look how lean he is. Like, that dude is definitely juicing now.
He is very thick. Well, are you just leaner at like 27?
Nah, it's the roids.
We can connect on a lot of levels. I can't say anything else.
That's actually
He's
how.
gonna suck his dick.
Yeah.
Just for everyone listening.
Pretty clear
You
that
open
she
her
was
mouth.
going to
Yeah.
put all of that inside of her mouth.
How many seasons did that have?
It was 7 episodes, or did I just make that? Yeah, it's 7. 7 episodes. He gets to know the women and then eliminates them weekly until he finds the one.
One season.
Eliminates.
It does say that he kills them.
Feeds them to the wolves.
What do you think Brittany Mahomes is doing right now? That's not for the pod. I just want to know.
Being told.
Well, Taylor might still be in town, so probably grabbing drinks. Chatting with her girl. I have a theory that Reputation, Taylor's version, is going to be announced sometime around the election, and Kamala's going to be a part of it. You heard it here first.
She's going to do like the Brat remix thing.
She's going to come out and be like, ladies, it's time to get back our reputations. And then Kamala's going to come out walking like,
There is some breaking news that Kamala was on Colbert and she drank a Miller Lite. And
like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
drank
Did she
a
shotgun
Miller
it?
Lite And she called Trump a loser.
she's really out on these pods
So-
doing Call Her Daddy.
She's not call her daddy, yeah.
Is anybody willing to call her a war criminal on any of these appearances? Or
Just this one, baby. Welcome.
That's right. We got-
President-elect. or whatever.
oh my god! Oh my god! Actually, if you look under your
She's
chair,
dancing
everybody's
and-
getting a Kamala Harris tonight.
Remember when they did Big Hat last year and everyone freaked out?
Big hat.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
that? It was just
fucking
a big
stupid
baseball
big-
hat.
That was
We're not doing that anymore. That sucks.
I don't
We
know
need
if
to
that
bring
was like a
back.
one-time thing or if like Big Hat is here to stay, but it was really like it would just
Do you know
be
if
a guy at a
anybody-
huge baseball
big
hat
ass fucking hat, like at the post game press conference table,
and
just like
sitting
wow,
like
and your dirty like grass stained jersey with like the fucking 50-gallon baseball cap on.
it's like that that's like the this is not a good comparison. This is the oldest comparison in the world. Elmer Fudd. But I don't even think it's Elmer Fudd. Did he have the big hat?
Stooges reference, Elmer Fudd.
Am I 1,000 years old? I
just-
know Brat.
Other things, Charlie XCX, which Diggs, tapped that.
Also at steps.
Ultimate.
Steph Diggs did not hook up with Charlie XCX.
8 months pregnant.
That's crazy that you were confusing those two women.
Girl, so confusing. That is.
Charlie XCX is currently on ketamine for the next like 6 months with Troye Sivan.
Do you think Diggs has been listening to "Sympathy" is like a knife over and over again?
Do you think Diggs had a Brat Summer? Who do you think is the most Brat-coded football player?
it's Diggs? Right now, it's got to be Diggs.
Probably.
What about Joe Burrow?
I don't really
No,
think
he's
the
Ellen
most
coded.
brat player can be on a 1-year deal in Houston, though. So I think for that
That's
reason,
what I'm
he's
saying. Like, is it
eliminated.
Travis Kelce?
Don't you dare.
Travis Kelce is having like a
Taylor's not Brad.
like a yellow wolf summer. Like not even Eminem, just white rapper.
Who was the guy who did I Love College?
I love college.
Do you remember the Asher Roth?
Oh fuck!
What a poll.
Do you think that Travis Kelce and Machine Gun Kelly have anything in common?
Taste in women.
Megan Fox isn't black. Sorry. Sorry, Taylor.
Are they both from Ohio?
Look at him. Fuck this guy. I'm sorry.
It's one woman from each.
He is
of
so
the
slim in this
states.
promo.
Yeah, right? Because he was relying on natural, God-given athletic talent for most of his career, and now the only thing that will do is the juice.
When did he get beefy? If this is 2016, and that's what, 8
He's got to be
ago?
at least 34. I would say
This is 28, 27.
this was
years old.
2016. Like,
So he's like 26, 27.
holy fuck, this was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 10 years ago.
I just saw the Roosevelt Hotel. That's pretty full circle.
Gang gang.
Jesus. This fucking jabroni. You know what? I've hated Travis Kelce since, I want to say, 2013 or 14 when my stepdad got him on his fantasy team before me.
But you did want him at some point.
Well, because this was one of the reasons
speaking.
fantasy football fucking sucks. Because if you don't get one of like 3 tight ends, your season's over, and then you
Yeah.
still have to play it out. Like, that's awful. So I didn't have a tight end, and it's Gronkowski or bust at this point in the NFL. So I'm always like searching, like, okay, who's putting up numbers? There's this young guy out in Kansas City. I'm like doing my research. I'm like, I know ball, and then like I go, and it's like this fucking asshole. No, he's a nice guy, I guess. Not Travis Kelce, my mom's husband. But so he already had him like for like 7 fucking days. I was like, what the hell? Like, you were on this shit a week ago. Like, you have nothing better to do? Answer. No, he doesn't.
You didn't show up to the draft, and then you were mad that Travis Kelce got picked?
Are you blaming me? Like, what am I fucking hearing?
So you missed the draft.
No.
Expected...
No, this was a waiver claim. Nobody was going to draft fucking Travis Kelce in whatever year this was. He was a nobody.
Well, these
We didn't even
7
know he was
women who-
Jason Kelce's brother yet.
Do you know their last name? Like, it's supposed to be Kels.
That sucks. It is? So according
This is
to
another thing I quote unquote read on TikTok.
And he's
or
just
something.
fine with it happening like
There were
this?
like, I guess their dad was on a podcast or some shit. None of what I say is probably gonna be true, but and he was like, yeah, it was his dad who basically started it in the family. And it was like people just kept saying Kelce to me. I was just like, whatever, it's Kelce, I guess.
Wow. Imagine not giving that much, like any amount of fuck about yourself.
I mean, as someone whose name is Caitlin, you could spell it however you want, and I'm going to answer, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to say anything.
Well, like, I've definitely let dozens of people get away with calling me Brandon in social interactions
Right.
because it's just like ultimately.
Especially if you're like, it's loud.
yeah,
I'm like,
and you're not going to
know.
be in my life too much longer anyhow. There's no point to
Don't
correct
even
you.
actually talk to me.
But like, I wouldn't let them put it on a death certificate. Like, it's not my fucking name, dude. Actually, it used to be Travis Smith, and they just kept calling him Kelce.
That's
and he
actually
was
my
fine.
first boyfriend's name.
Travis Smith.
Yeah.
Really?
Deadass.
I actually knew that. Bring him out.
Well, go. Look under your chairs.
There's a Travis Smith and a Kamala.
There's so many of you. Do you think there's anything like redeeming about him?
Travis Kelce.
Like, do you see why he is so charming to millions of Swifties across the nation?
That is because your rank and file Swiftie is a fucking insane person. I think that the good thing about Travis Kelce is he's clearly a very talented tight end, but outside of that, I guess he hasn't murdered anybody. I don't know. I mean, he's got a great, charming person. Everybody needs to hear from another fucking jacked white guy
From Ohio.
online. Like, fuck, man, you're already a millionaire football player.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to be like ruled by like any one family in this country, and like, I don't need to wake
really-
up, you know, going out on my porch with my cup of coffee in the morning, and it's like, what are the Kardashians and the Trumps and the Clintons and the Obamas and the Kelce's up to today? Like, I just don't need another dynastic family in my
Yeah.
life, and I think.
They have a Christmas movie coming out,
God damn it! No.
and Donna's in it. But like, I think as a cameo. But it's basically like a football player dating a blonde woman and then like getting married. It's like the Taylor and Travis story. But
I'm gonna.
I have a prompt for you guys. Donna Kelce was on
Hot or not?
was on the cover of Glamour recently. With she was pictured with fellow mothers of stars. There was the name of the article. I'll show it to you.
Oh my God.
Is Women of the Year. And then
Interesting.
they're all moms of famous people. So I don't know if they're just women, awesome women for having kids, but the other three parents are Selena Gomez's mom,
Interesting.
Billie Eilish's mom,
I
and
could-
Beyonce's mom.
Oh.
And then also Travis Kelce's mom. What's the theme? And I need you guys to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to pull it up, though.
Are there just not that many women? Like, can we get
There's
those
not that many
numbers?
moms.
Like, we're running
The
out.
only thing.
Well, then no one's having kids anymore.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
why Elon Musk has like 15 of them.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to fix the mom shortage.
Bill listens to me all day in my day job tell people how to keep their environments quiet, and then just brought 2 bags of chips within 3 feet of me.
He's actually putting you through your paces. Wants to see how good of an engineer you really are.
So it does also say the moms. It says Women of the Year, the moms.
Just a few, though.
Are the women of the year chosen, or the moms chosen first?
It's a confusing question. It's a
Is that Selena's mom?
It is.
And that's whose?
That's Billie Eilish's mom.
Oh, that actually makes sense.
Oh, that's all the moms.
Yeah, the
Oh,
rest of
great, though.
everybody makes sense. Honestly, I was gonna say the rest of them, but I think she also makes sense.
She's
they
just
all
become
look
like such the mom of the like, you have such nice boys.
Should we fuck,
no
marry,
shade.
kill all these moms?
You're gonna
Well, what's the
fuck
fourth?
2 of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to... everybody's poly. So I'm going
That's the answer.
I'm going to try and figure out who the moms are. And I think that
It's
it's
pretty obvious.
pretty goddamn obvious. Which one...
One of them looks radically like Selena Gomez.
Who the fuck is Mandy Teefy?
That's Selena Gomez's mom.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, none of them.
Who's Maggie Baird?
Billie Eilish's.
What is
mom.
Billie Eilish's real mom or name?
Same. Her last name is my last name. But it's
Eilish.
Billie Pirate Baird O'Connell.
They're like a boy equivalent of Glamour magazine where they're just
GQ.
sucking off all... Yeah.
Yes, it's GQ.
Dads of the year.
GQ's celebrating the deadbeats.
Who would the dads of the year be?
Tyreek Hill. Adrian Peterson.
Who's that kicker? Harrison Butker.
Harrison Butker.
Butker.
Guaranteed one of the dads of the year.
Well, that's my goal for next season. I think I mentioned to you is just a team of deadbeats.
Yes.
And see how it goes. And it's probably gonna
You
crush.
will reign for 1,000,000 years.
You know, I haven't been putting Xavier Worthy in because I have Chase and Diggs.
Is he producing?
He's doing numbers that I think I could put him in, but they're all the other ones. They're like 1 or 2 apart when I usually get around to it.
Who's Xavier Worthy playing for?
The Chiefs.
Oh, God damn. Is he like the number? Well, they have nobody, and then they just put Rasheed Rice on IR.
Well, remember they traded with the Bills to get first pick, and their first pick was Worthy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I'd probably play that guy because I don't
know,
know what the
I don't know why I
Rasheed Rice
didn't.
injury is like, but I think I heard last week he was on IR or
I
something.
should probably switch him in before
Yeah.
tomorrow.
I mean, like, Nico Collins has a hamstring injury, but it doesn't look like they're trying to
I think that's why I'm doing better. Is there's a lot of like hurt people. Shout out.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out the injuries.
Injury report. Josh had those concussions. That
He
was
went into the
shocking.
tent of shame,
The tent of shame came right out.
totally fine,
Nothing was in the tent because they picked it up off the
unbothered
ground.
in his lane.
Yeah, unbothered, glowing, very demure.
He actually came out like fresh looking from the
Yeah, he
tent.
got a
like,
facial.
He
So
shot
that
a
was
shampoo commercial while he was in there. Josh Allen, Head and Shoulders need you for 5 minutes.
He's been growing out those locks.
I know. So am I.
Good.
And literally, he's my inspiration because I think that he's a lesbian too.
Oh, let's wrap up then with Joseph Burrow. Speaking of lesbians,
What?
because he's got that Ellen DeGeneres look,
Yeah, that's
and he
right.
always rocks
What's the
those
other
outfits.
generous look?
He just now with the blonde hair. I mean, he always has, even with his natural blonde.
Yeah.
But he just kind of dresses like Ellen DeGeneres, like when he comes out in like pantsuits and stuff.
Yeah, he's got some white hair now.
But if you look up Joe Burrow, Ellen DeGeneres, you'll see a lot of.
Joe Burrow doing.
He's my QB.
Burrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was all that was left.
Well, they're
No shit,
1-4, so he's probably going to be fucking slinging that shit for the rest of the year. That's a good pickup.
I picked him in the end because he was cute. I do love me. Like, look at that with the pink and the khaki. Tell me that's not a comedian from 1992.
I don't think Joe Burrow's lesbianism has anything to do with their dog shit record, though. I do want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
That's cool when you have notifications on, right? Fuck me.
No, people love it.
So unprofessional. I want to wrap up by asking Caitlin, why do you even watch this horrible fucking sport? We don't have to put that in the pod, but like, I don't know. I want to say some gay shit.
Should I be sincere?
I think that we could gesture towards sincerity, but I don't think that.
Sincerity. I start weeping.
Yeah, like I've been waiting for this. Actually, nobody has ever asked me about my relationship with the sport, but that's true. Probably nobody has. They're just like, "Oh, cool,
one's
girl
looked in
likes
the
football."
eye,
Yeah.
No, I think so I quit my job and moved to Maine in 2019, and my boss on this apple farm was like, if everyone was into the Patriots, obviously. We're like right outside Portland, and that's back when they were like still semi-decent. And just like being from like Rochester at the time, like the whole like rivalry of like, oh, we're gonna beat you, and I was like, I don't really know what you're talking about, but whatever. That's like,
But it
way people
stirs
connect.
something
Yeah.
inside of me. Yeah.
But then the joke would continue, like, oh, we're winning, and then it became like a little more where I was like, that's my town, like that's Western New York.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I should actually start watching this. And then like I kind of wanted to like play the game of like, oh, if I win, that means I beat my boss, and like whatever that means. And like,
It's a bit of social currency to be discovered here.
and then I think also just like being homesick and like living away. And I spent a year. I lived in Maine and Vermont, and again, all just like Patriots country. And so I felt very like connected to being like Bills. And then I moved from there to Buffalo in 2020, like right at the height of the pandemic. And then that was like the only real thing that was happening, I feel, was like football and empty stadiums on TV. Because like concerts weren't around, in-person events weren't around. It was like, but it felt like kind of in person because you're watching it and everyone else in the world is watching. And
All the fake crowd noise.
yeah, which was like so uncanny valley, like so creepy.
Finding out
like,
that all those stadiums were haunted the entire time was fucking nuts.
But then I think just like, you know, desperately searching for that connection during COVID. And then again, being back in like, I'm from Rochester originally, an hour outside of Buffalo, but like, you know, so like home region, always growing up around the Bills, and then finally being like, oh, I have nothing else to do, but I guess watch football for like 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And then like being like, oh, this is actually like other show. I used to like, when I lived in New York City, I would go to like the bar to watch Breaking Bad. I would go to the bar to watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
Hilarious.
We'd go to the bar to like I would go to the bar in Bushwick to watch Girls every week, which is like an insane thing to do. And then I was like, oh, it's just like that, but for like stuff that's a little more like masculine than watching Lena Dunham like be naked in a bar. But I think coming back to that, like I think being a part of the like being raised in Bill's country in Western New York, in Buffalo, having lived here, moved away and come back, and now like really enjoying, like, you know, everyone wants to leave their town, blah, blah, blah.
Everyone wants to put 6 or 7 pebbles in their little sister's vagina like Lena Donna. Sorry. Just a few.
I got that book right behind.
I won't forget what she said at the NFL honors about, I don't even remember, was it Amari Cooper maybe? I don't know. Does anybody remember
Lena
this?
Dunham was there?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like the ESPYs or
Was it
some
during
shit.
the girls'
It was some
season?
fucking place that Lena Dunham had no fucking business being. But then she went out of her way to, nobody asked, and she was just like, well, I think I should say something about how this
Odell
man
Beckham Jr.
doesn't want to sit next to my slovenly fat white body or whatever the fuck she got
Oh,
on.
I do remember that.
It was Odell Beckham Jr.
Perfect, yeah.
Even
OBJ.
better. But anyways, I love Western New York. You know,
It's beautiful here. You know,
much more than Bushwick. Oh, but there was also a time, I guess, going back to that, where like when I did move to New York, it was like what, 2012, 13. Just think like the height of MGMT. I thought I was like really fucking cool and indie, and was like, oh,
you're right.
dressing like Zoe Deschanel and like walking around fucking Williamsburg and being like, anyone who watches football, that's like so lame, and like following everyone, and like I listen to MGMT and Vampire Weekend and like.
Have you heard Midnight City by M83? Because I don't know why I'd be fucking around with whatever that is when this is happening.
But then realizing like it's not. I mean, it is that serious. It's a multi-million-dollar organization that like what functions like a church or whatever. I don't know, but there's a lot of bad. But I think when I see the fact that like it does connect me to like my home place, and it does give me like a sense of pride in living here, and it does have this like fervent fan base that like I'm a Swiftie. I love being a fan. I love being a stan. And when I realized it was just like that. But for dudes who are like big and probably dumb, I was like, oh, I can do that. That makes sense to me. Even if I don't know all the rules and stuff, I love yelling at TVs and cheering for things.
Yeah,
and the structure.
And feeling like you're connected to something.
Yeah, like you're in an airport, you have a Bills shirt on, someone's like, "Go Bills!" I'm like, I was on my way to Costa Rica once, and I was like alone and tired, and I had a Bills shirt on. Some guy in like fucking Houston or something was like, "Go Bills!" at like 4 a.m., and I was like, "Oh, so beautiful." I think it's the same reason, like all of us in this room, us hosts and our partners and
Caitlin,
producers.
There's no one else.
I wake up in my doctor's office.
You're staring at the Josh Allen with the dunce cap on.
I'm still at the
What
dentist.
is going on?
They're like, you keep talking about this dunce cap. We don't know what that means. Another reference from 1700. Wait, what's your origin story as we close out?
Well, I was raised as a boy, and I'd get my ass kicked if I didn't like football. So
The duality of
How do you compensate for masculinity?
yeah, no, honestly, it did become, like I mentioned, social currency earlier. It was a way that I could just redirect conversations, like, because I spent so much of my life being totally uncomfortable in my own skin for some reason. Whenever, like, a man starts getting a little too close to the button, she's like, oh, did you see the game? Mm-hmm. But there are, like, cerebral elements. Everybody's always talking about, like, the high-level chess match. And I like narratives and storylines, and they do a good job of selling all that shit, too. Because why else would anybody watch, I guess? He didn't want... I mean, like, not the sort of narrative and storyline like a Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift romance.
Oh.
But, like, a guy who, like, grew up with a childhood that maybe looked a little bit like my own, and then... through hard work and probably a lot of child abuse, he's able to live out his dreams in the NFL. And then, I'm a big fan of CTE as a concept, so I made it a little bit easier to keep liking it after a while. No, but
as long as there's a good reason.
Yeah, I mean, it was just something. Fuck, I don't like it at all, actually. My brain is breaking. No, honestly, like growing up as a kid, like I didn't have
The
the
artist.
Like the art. Yeah, I'm separating all that right now. But I grew up in like South Jersey where everybody was an Eagles fan, and I grew to associate that team with all the kids who were bullying me. So there was no way I was gonna. It was like Randall Cunningham was the quarterback, who is a fantastic fucking player. Not for me, absolutely not. So I picked my team based on like color and animal and quarterback play, the way everyone should. And so I landed on the Miami Dolphins, which we should probably dump from the pod. Nobody should.
No,
really
I
know
also, for that same reason, was like turquoise dolphins.
Right.
Hell
It's
yeah.
fucking, it's
bright.
Dolphins.
They're
yeah.
so smart.
The uniforms
The
look
prettiest
delicious.
animal.
Dan Marino. And I didn't become a Bills fan until I think I was probably here for a little while. It was during the era where they were just so bad. Like, all they had was Fred Jackson, and then they were doing crazy shit like giving Terrell Owens the key to the city. And it's just like, all I'm going to do is make fun of the people who live here for the rest of my life because I can't leave legally. I used to live somewhere else. They gave me a bus ticket and they said, get the hell out of here. But no, I mean, like the community aspect of it, like it really felt good. I went to the Bills home opener. It was my first football game where it was the Bills home opener against the Miami Dolphins the year Ralph Wilson died.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like walking into a fucking buzzsaw. It was like packed, sold out crowd, like 60,000 people, hammered fucking drunk because everybody is the Bills Mafia. It's like we're actually wildlings in this fucking town. We all live north of the wall. Just a bunch of deranged, absolute unhinged psychopaths. Jim Kelly had just beat jaw cancer again.
Oh, shit.
And was presumably not putting his hands on any women for a while. He was keeping that
now.
streak alive. So there was just a lot to be thankful for. And they absolutely beat the shit out of the Miami Dolphins. Went to another game, another Bills-Dolphins game, another Dolphins loss. But at this point, I had become a little more savvy because when you're tailgating, there are always people like selling bootleg merch and shit.
Hell yeah.
So I bought like a Bills hoodie. I bought like a shitty screen printed "Fuck Miami" t-shirt with like a middle finger on it. And now I'm loaded walking into the stadium in a disguise. But then, the Dolphins get a first down for fucking, I can't even know who's quarterback at that time. He was like throwing to Brian Hartline, who I think is last I heard was like the wide receivers coach for the Browns. And I'm just like, yeah, like, oh, let's fucking go. People are like, what the fuck, And it's like, this person clearly hates the fucking Dolphins. Like, how drunk are they? That's crazy. And then we were with some like 16-year-old who also got hammered, and he threw up on some Dolphins fans who were sitting in front of us.
Love that. My family also got thrown up on.
Yeah, at a Bills game.
Bills game, yeah.
Yeah, I think like one of the side, and they should open this up to betting on FanDuel, is regardless of how large your party is when you go to a Bills game, like how many of you like actually finish the game together.
Yeah. Thrown up on or thrown up.
There were like 6 of us, and only 2 of us made it to the end of that game.
I think the games I've gone to, I'm like, you know what? That traffic, though, if we leave right now.
Right? Yeah. It could be the best outcome ever. Oh, fucking Mark Maron said something like that on a podcast, too, like, as he was getting older. Like, the thrill of, like, seeing the end of a band's set when you start to think, like, we could beat the traffic.
The encore,
like, when the fucking
I don't
Stones
care.
are
I'll watch
on,
it on
it's just
YouTube.
like, I don't give a shit. I don't need to hear Satisfaction. I need to be home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was episode 1 of Man Coverage in the books. Thank you so much for being our friends, our partners, and for the support and love. Follow us on Instagram at Man Coverage Pod. That's at Man Coverage Pod. You can also find the show on YouTube if you can believe that. That's your thing. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast, of course, because it's only uphill from here, baby. And once this train is flush with BetterHelp cash, you're going to want to say you were here for episode 1.